Welcome back to our study of hope in the book of Proverbs. We are on blueletterbible.org and we are looking at the 8 occurrences of hope in the book of Proverbs. In the first week we did an overview of this study and a small overview of the book of Proverbs, and then in the following weeks we looked at Proverbs 10:28 and Proverbs 11:7, Proverbs 13:12, and then we did 19:18, and then the last video we did Proverbs 23:18. Surely there is a future and a hope, and your hope will not be cut off. And you'll notice that from last video that context was key to understanding this verse, because it could apply to just about anything. And so we went and looked at the context, and that helped us understand this verse. And then again in our verse that we're looking at today in video number 7, Proverbs 24:14, context is going to be key again. This verse says this: know that wisdom is thus for your soul. If you find it, then there will be a future, and your hope will not be cut off. And this word thus points us either forward or backwards. It points us either backwards to something that was before it, and then thus for your soul, something before it, or thus, and then you could talk about whatever is afterwards. So we're going to need context again. You'll also notice that 23:18 and 24:14 have this very similar phrase: there is a future, or there will be a future here, and then your hope will not be cut off, or your hope will not be cut off. And so we're going to look at what happens when we start to see phrases repeating in multiple verses in the same book like this, and what we can do about that. So we're going to click this tools button, go to Proverbs 24:14, and again, we don't need to go very far to find the context for this verse. We'll just go up a verse one more time. Proverbs 24:13 says this: my son, eat honey, for it is good. Yes, honey from the comb is sweet to your taste. Know then, verse 24:14, know that wisdom is thus for your soul. Essentially, wisdom is honey for your soul, or it's good. It's sweet to the taste for your soul. Now, you remember from maybe one of the first videos that we did that we talked about the difference between knowledge, which is knowing what is right and what is wrong, and wisdom, which is the ability to rightly apply knowledge. In other words, wisdom comes with action on knowing what is right and wrong. Knowledge is just knowing what's right and wrong. So Solomon is trying to tell his son, wisdom is sweet like honey for your soul. And then this phrase again: if you find it, if you find wisdom, if you find the ability to rightly apply the knowledge of right and wrong, then there will be a future, and your hope will not be cut off. When you start seeing, I'm going to go back so you can see that these verses are similar again, the 23:18 and 24:14. When you do a study like this and you start seeing that there's phrases that are repeating, what you're looking at is maybe a quotation from something that happened before it, or what you're looking at is maybe a stock cultural phrase that is thrown out a lot that everybody would have understand. And so you got to go do a little bit of research on what that looks like. So in Proverbs 24:14, let me go back here for a second. I read the verse after Proverbs 24:14 to try and figure out, is this a stock phrase, or are we looking at something that was said before? And it says, do not lie in wait, O wicked man, against the dwelling of the righteous. Do not destroy his resting place. So the next verse is talking about the wicked man. And this verse that we have, Proverbs 24:14, is talking about being cut off. And so I assumed that the wicked man is the one who's cut off. So I did a little more research. I opened a new tab, and I searched for wicked cut off Bible. Super technical search here. But what's interesting is that the very first result here is Psalm 37. And so I opened up Psalm 37 and I started reading through it, to try to figure out, does this have any connection to the book of Proverbs? And I got down here to verse 28, and it says this: for the Lord loves the just and will not forsake his faithful ones. They will be protected forever, but the offspring of the wicked will be cut off. And I said, oh, that sounds kind of familiar. Let me keep reading. The righteous will inherit the land and dwell in it forever. The mouth of the righteous man utters wisdom, and his tongue speaks what is just. The law of his God is in his heart. His feet do not slip. The wicked lie in wait for the righteous, seeking their lives. And that's where I stopped. The wicked lie in wait for the righteous, seeking their lives. And I thought, man, where have I heard that before? So I went back to Proverbs chapter 24:14, and I went back down to 24:15. Do not lie in wait, O wicked man, against the dwelling of the righteous. The wicked lie in wait for the righteous, seeking their lives. Then I started putting the pieces together. That Proverbs 24:14 might be connected to Psalm 37, and I said, wait a minute, who wrote Psalm 37? I go back up here to the top, and Psalm 37 was written by David, who is the father of Solomon, who is the writer of the book of Proverbs, who's now writing to his son. And all of a sudden I started realizing that this wisdom that Solomon's trying to give to his son came directly from his father, from David, in Psalm 37. So the context of this verse is something that happened before it. This phrase, then there will be a future and your hope will not be cut off, comes straight from David. And his leadership of the people of God when he was king. And now Solomon's trying to give his son the same exact wisdom. And I kept reading the psalm because then I was intrigued. The wicked lie in wait for the righteous, seeking their lives, but the Lord will not leave them in their power or let them be condemned when brought to trial. Wait for the Lord and keep his way. He will exalt you and you will inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, you will see it. And he says this, shares this story, David. I have seen a wicked and ruthless man flourishing like a green tree in its native soil. But he soon passed away and was no more. Though I looked for him, he could not be found. Consider the blameless, observe the upright. There is a future for the man of peace. All sinners will be destroyed. The future of the wicked will be cut off. So what David taught Solomon was that the destiny or the ending of the wicked man is that even though they flourish while they're alive, when they pass away, they leave nothing. You can't even find anything of them. But the blameless, the upright, the man of peace, they have a future. And the wicked will be cut off. So wisdom, Solomon tells his son, is like honey for your soul. If you find it, there will be a future, and your hope will not be cut off. Here's the pattern. Believe, live righteously, prove that your belief, your relationship with God is genuine, and God will sustain your future. Maybe your future when you die. Or you could believe, live in wickedness. You could prove your unbelief. You could prove your ingenuineness. And God will cut you off. We can't always be wise. Sometimes we will know the difference between right and wrong, and we will simply choose what's wrong. It's not about being perfect in life, but it is about coming back to God no matter how far you've wandered off. Know that wisdom is like honey for your soul. If you find it, the ability to rightly act on the knowledge of right and wrong. If you find that, there will be a future for you and your hope will not be cut off. Search for it. We'll come back next time. We'll keep going on hope in the book of Proverbs. Thanks.